All right, welcome back to the walkthrough where we check off the list every single one of this week's most trending topics in real estate. I am your co-host, Byron Lazine, along with Eric Simon, the broke agent, and welcoming back David Childers, the president of KCM, to potentially answer the most important question we're all hearing, which is topic number one, as well as the first appearance on the walkthrough, but definitely not the last, for Lisa Chinatti. She is a broker, owner, and the number one team in the entire state of Massachusetts. Welcome to the walkthrough, Lisa.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. Topic number one is something that, Lisa, definitely all of your agents are hearing. Certainly mine are. The agents in the industry are all hearing this question right now. Should I buy a house? Because things are changing. David, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, I think that is the biggest question right now. Certainly we've talked a lot about in past podcasts and things that we've talked about, Byron, the rise in interest rates, and everybody knows that in our business has dominated the first half of this year. But I would say even a bigger question than that is, should I buy a house right now? And sort of understanding that question, breaking it down, I want to do for a couple of minutes, because I think, the cost for someone to borrow right now, a statistic came out the other day, the average mortgage payment's gone up by $800. Maybe some of you saw that in the last year. But I think even bigger than that, nobody wants to buy something that they feel like may be worth less 6 or 12 months down the road, right? I might be okay to pay a little bit more in financing costs, but I definitely don't want to buy something that's going to lose value. So I want to break that down. If you look at forecasters, and that's what we do at Keeping Current Matters, we give you the forecast. I can tell you probably know this unless you've been under a rock. The majority, if not all, forecasters are calling for appreciation this year and into the future, except for maybe a few people on YouTube. And I think more than that, what I want to talk about, Byron, is the why behind that. Why are they calling for appreciation? So bring that first slide up. It's all about supply and demand. If you saw the Dave Ramsey, video that's been out there, this is a look at supply. Going all the way back to the 70s. And we've used this graphic before. And I think a visual does a lot to paint sort of the picture of where we're at in real estate right now. And over the last 50 years, this is a look at the number of single family housing units brought to market. In the last 14, we've been below that 50-year average. So, if you're listening and you haven't seen these, Byron, I'll get these slides over. People can grab those and use those. But I think understanding that is critically important. Having a visual to show folks, this is what supply looks like. Now let's go to the next slide. This is demand in the market. This is a look at generational demand, going back and looking forward. And what do we know? 82% of buyers, according to NAR, fit in that 23 to 31 age range. Massive demand right now, larger generation than what we've seen. Second just behind the boomers, but certainly larger in the market right now than any other generation. So here's what I'm saying. When you have constrained supply, which we have had over the last 14 years, you bring a tremendous amount of demand in the market. That keeps upward pressure on prices. Now, I'm not suggesting we need to go into any interaction with a buyer and say, hey, look, here's what it is. You need to understand this. You need to listen because homes are going to appreciate and you need to get your act together. That's not what I'm saying.
They start saying that's realtor talk, right? When you say that?
Absolutely. I go back to, you did a video, I don't know when it was, but I just saw it on Instagram recently about engaging on topics, with Zillow, engaging on things that people have different opinions about. That's how you can make a difference in somebody's life. I mean, forget real estate for a minute, just take the world, right? Can we engage with people that have a different opinion? A lot of people believe homes are going to lose value. And so I think if we can have the supply and demand conversation very, very well, the third slide on there, which you can bring it up if you want to, but it shows the appreciation over the next 5 years on the average home bought in this country, just over $100,000. Here's one thing I am willing to declare and make a bet absolutely on this podcast. In 5 years, homes will be more expensive than they are today. Just a question of by how much, right? So what you're doing today, the decision that you're making today as a buyer is saying, do I feel like that's the right thing for me? And I think there are a lot of things that go into that, in making that decision. But my point would be, and my hope would be, that anybody listening can have the confidence to have the supply conversation, the demand conversation, and the appreciation conversation based on facts, not the emotion of today and of the market and of everything we're seeing. So I'm going to pause for a second, but that would be my message as we kick this off.
There's going to be an appropriate time to have all three of those conversations. And what you were saying, David, is basically meeting them where they're at. When they bring up one of those, issues, my cousin bought a house 5 years ago and he's saying this, and he's telling me that homes are just going to, fall off the cliff and I should just wait another 6 to 12 months. Being able to help them sift through all those voice headlines, family members, friends, everybody in their head saying this, and just look at the data. Lisa, what are you guys saying to your clients, to home shoppers that are asking you this question?
Much the same things, right? We're having the same conversations, that understanding the difference between depreciating, an asset that's depreciating, right, where the value is going down, and where the level of appreciation is actually just decelerating, right? And that homes are still going to gain value year over year, much like we just talked about, right? The prediction of $100,000. It's just not going to appreciate as quickly as it has appreciated over the past, 2 to 3 years. And understanding the difference between really healthy appreciation and the fact that what's happened over the past couple of years has been kind of, in a way, not healthy appreciation.
Dave, you mentioned Dave Ramsey, Dave,
yeah.
that he said, one thing he said was real estate never has gone down since the 1930s, except for that one time. And he's taking that long-term approach that, like Lisa's alluding to, where you're going to see consistent appreciation over time. But I mean, he was pretty emphatic. It has just never gone down, except for obviously 2008. I think what was more valuable that Dave Ramsey said was that there's 5 million more 35-year-olds right now than there was in 2007, right? There's 12 million more households than there was in 2007. And what's helpful for agents and teams right now is not only to have that conversation, but to show them, like with the KCM charts that David just showed us.
Visuals are huge.
Yeah, and we've got that graphic too at KCM to show. And what he's talking about is post-World War II, which is the beginning of the modern day housing boom. You think about GIs coming back from the war, the GI Bill provided for education and provided for them to buy a home. That was the start. There's been one time when homes lost significant value, and that was in 2008. You can literally show people that visually. And I think that's the job that we have in the market, but also being sensitive to how people feel, and how they feel that way because they saw somebody get hurt back then. They feel that way because a family member lost a lot of money back then, and we need to keep that in mind.
This question, and Lisa and I were chatting. I'm here in her headquarters, even though we're sitting in different rooms, and we were chatting earlier today about the seminars that every single team leader needs to be doing in their community to help educate people who are just like, I don't know what to do about real estate. They should know right now that crypto isn't a place where you want to put your money. Like Eric, I just had to take the shot at your Coinbase account or whatever you're on. And listen, I dabbled in a little bit of crypto, and it was a good lesson because there's going to be so many stories over the next 12 to 18 months about the fraudulent practices in that space. You have 100+ years of data in residential real estate that you can point to that this is a very strong asset. This is how you build wealth in America, and that's not changing. So a seminar that everybody should be running in their local community is the question that David and Lisa just answered. Should I buy a house right now? Come, we're going to have that discussion. Use the KCM slides. You can try them for free. Try kcm.com/BAM. The link is below. These are charts. You could probably pick 3 that David picked right here and build an entire seminar and Q&A with you and your best agents just around that. And maybe run it every single month for the next 12 months, because this is the education that everybody's community really needs. All right, checking that one off. Go into number 2. Eric, you stirred up a complete controversy. I want to get everybody's take on this, because everybody does have a viewpoint on professionalism and appearance and dress code, or should there be a dress code in real estate? So Eric, what was, or Bobby, if you have it, do you have, I put the links into the Slack if you want to.
I could just read it also.
Yeah. Pull up the tweet. It was on Facebook that really got the comments going.
Yeah. So I like to test my content on Twitter and then retest it on Facebook before actually posting to Instagram. Twitter's kind of my dumping ground. Monday morning, I woke up. I didn't really have much to post. So what I do when I don't have much to post is I go back through my old posts that have done well. And one post, I asked a question saying, what's something that agents do that annoys you? And then I went through all the comments, and I saw one comment that got like 400 likes. And it said, I hate when agents wear flip-flops to showings. So when I saw the amount of likes that got, I was like, okay, this is a hot button issue. I'm going to tweet this out, see what the engagement's like. Maybe I could start a conversation around it. So I tweeted it out, started doing pretty well. I was excited. I was like, all right, could be, an Instagram post, posted to Facebook, and then 700 comments rolled in. I just said, hey, agents, just because it's hot outside doesn't mean you should wear flip-flops to showings. And you would think that I made some announcement like I joined the Proud Boys or something like that, because the comments were ridiculous. People were reaming me for, lecturing them on what to wear. Like this one lady, I think she got like 300 likes in her comments saying, it's not about what you wear. It's about the integrity. It's about your professionalism. And of course, I agree with these statements. First of all, I don't even agree with what I said. I just said, if it's hot, don't wear flip-flops. I don't care if people actually wear flip-flops. But it was a great engagement piece. And to see like how triggered agents were by something like this, it was kind of like a fascinating case study on something like this. And I know, Byron, I think you have a story about flip-flops, right?
Well, I do. So I had an agent, and this was probably 5 years ago. She used to love wearing flip-flops, and she prefers just going barefoot. So sometimes she'd just leave the flip-flops in the car, and she was showing homes. And I was hearing from other agents like, hey, your agent's showing the house with no shoes on, no flip-flops, no, can you get some shoes on those feet? And just didn't like wearing shoes, thought it was, very, that was this person's style, right? And everybody does have she had a very strong, take on this. Like, I should be able to do this. It's like taking your shoes off at the door. I just happen not to be wearing shoes at all. Interesting take for sure. Lisa, I see your face. What's your take? What's your take on flip-flops? Because that's where the controversy was.
I think that there's like different levels of flip-flops, right? There's the homeless style flip-flops. There's the going to the beach flip-flops. And then there's the really nice flip-flops. And so I think maybe everybody has their own visual of what flip-flops are. I think that nicely dressy ones can be totally appropriate. Bare feet gross me out. Like,
have you ever seen anybody do it on the airplane?
Yes, it's disgusting. Can't do it.
Insane.
I'm talking beach flip-flops. Like, do you think it's appropriate for agents to wear beach flip-flops at showings?
Let's go rapid fire. Let's go rapid fire. Yes or no, and get everybody.
All right, David. Beach flip-flops at showings. Yes or no?
No, I would say no. I would say it's going to be a distraction. I'd keep it professional. That'd be my answer.
I'm a no.
I'm a no on beach flip-flops.
So interesting enough, I I'm good at pulling content that does well on another platform and then creating other content out of it. So once I saw this, I was like, all right, I'm not going to post this to my story because I don't want a bunch of people unfollowing me on Instagram, or I'm not going to post it to my feed. So I posted it to my story and actually pulled the audience and then started posting some of the DMs people sent me. And 63% of the real estate population agrees no flip-flops at showings.
Oh, I thought it was good.
That is your answer.
Because of the extreme comments, I would have thought that 63% would have said, no, we should be allowed to wear flip-flops. And here's where I'm at. I've seen agents that, certainly young agents, and I did this in my career and I've talked about this, the young agents that really take it serious and even though they're not expected to show up in a suit, they do it anyways, right? Or they're not expected to, be super dressed up. They do it anyways. They're very much organized when they show up, having their paperwork neat and organized, their appearance very neat, professional, and organized. And if they're young, this really helps because it ages them up. It brings the experience level up. It shows how committed they are to the process. And if that's going to help you, if that's going to help build trust with the home shopper, the investor, the seller, why not do it? You're there for them, not you. So that's my take on that.
Yeah.
People told me to screw myself in my DMs. They were calling me ignorant. I mean, seriously, you would think I was making like the most insane political statement of all time. It was mostly Florida agents attacking me. They're like, "You have no idea about
it's so hot."
I'm from Tucson.
And if you're going to be walking, and if you're walking beachfront property, then I think there are exceptions to every rule for sure. There might be an exception to that. You're going to walk a half a mile on the beachfront and get a feel for what it looks like. There's probably a time for it, right? My point is, you hear this a lot, and I've heard this from agents in the last month. If they don't like me for who I am, then I don't want to work for them. Well, you happen to be running a business.
Yeah.
So are you trying to make friends, or are you trying to build trust in the community so that you can be the educator of your business in your space? Which one is it?
Right.
If you go to the bar and they don't like you for you, that's one thing, but you're not making friends here. You're trying to build trust in the community. David, go ahead.
I want to go back to what you said just a minute ago, and you reiterated it there. It's about them, not us.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best things that was ever told in business is, if you're going to dress up and do that, do it out of respect for your client. We deal in trust every day. Don't give somebody a reason not to trust you. And you can't control that. We can debate, should they do that or should they not do that? But when you do something like that, well, there's flip-flops, something else. There are a million things you could talk about. You just give that opportunity not to build that trust.
I think that this is also one of those things that's going to change, just like a lot of other stuff that we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks with the shift in the market. For a long time, the consumer just wanted the agent that was going to show up first. They didn't care who it was who was going to write the offer and get it accepted. It was easy to do that, right? And I think as the market continues to play out over the next couple of weeks and months, and potentially over the next year, agents are going to have to earn the business in a way that they have never had to do since like 2020, 2019 even, right? Trust is a big part of that.
Look at this, Byron.
100%.
One tweet from Monday morning. We stretched it out to Thursday with nonstop content, with a podcast, an Instagram poll, a Facebook post, a debate. It's electric stuff right here.
Maybe your most brilliant sentence ever of all time. So, not to, maybe on the flip side of that flip flop, we'll go to the last topic here, where we have that parody video that, this video that got sent to Eric, Blink 182 parody video, is like a $25,000 piece of content that was just sent over to the broke agent to get the exposure, of course. Now, it's kind of along the same lines of the flip flop. It's a very provocative video. It was hilarious. It was great entertainment for the industry. Does a parody video like that help you get consumers is one thing. I'm interested to, in David and Lisa's take, a very provocative MTV style video on an old Blink 182 song. And then Erica, what's your thoughts? Obviously you loved it because it was great content.
Yeah, I loved it for the content. Tim Macy texted me and he said, like, hey, I tagged you in a Facebook comment. And I looked at it and I saw it's in all the small things parody. And I was like, oh, God, damn it. Like, this is going to be awful. Like, I hate song parody videos. I think they're so played out. They were cool in 2012 with like Lonely Island, back on E-Bombs World, and like Weird Al Yankovic. I feel like agents, sometimes go out of their way to produce something that's just to make them famous, that isn't necessarily great for their business. But then I looked at this video and I was like, oh my God, this is the best video I've ever seen. It was uncanny to the actual All the Small Things video. It's called All the Listings. The guy's name is Colin Schindler. And I shared it to Facebook. It got 100,000 views, collabed with him on Instagram, which this feature now is so awesome. I see Keeping Current Matters doing it now with agents, reading about the market and showing the slides. And this feature is so cool now where it's like, I could actually just get the content with him. So if he wants that exposure, he latches onto us. I latch onto him because it's great content, and it absolutely blew up. And in terms of, is this successful from like an agent perspective? If you look at the comments, Byron, there's agents saying like, oh, well, I know where all my referrals are going to in his location now. So that agent to agent exposure is really good, even though it was 4 agents.
It's a great point. Lisa,
Thanks.
What do you think?
I think
as much as you love video.
Facts. But I think that often video hits the agent to agent marketing, right? And it's the referral business that comes from it that can build the brand within the consumer. I don't think it's ever a direct to consumer hit. And I think that it's one of the things that I know you guys have talked about, right? The difference between making fun of consumers and putting out content that's geared towards agents that's still super respectful and hits the balance. So I haven't seen the parody. I'm going to go watch it as soon as we're done because I totally missed it. But
Bobby will put it up right now.
Don't play all 3 minutes of it, but I mean, the details, if you've seen the original video of this, it's uncanny.
This is a $20,000 production. The like signs, all the little intricacies of this. I mean, serious detail. I mean, this is MTV style stuff. And so, David, what's your thoughts on a video like this? Helping or hurting the agent? I agree with what Eric just said about the referrals, but what do you think, David? Your KCM touch on the Blink 182 parody.
The KCM touch. I'll say this: I haven't seen the video. I did see the pose, but I didn't watch the video. Listen, I think when agents do things like this, they have the opportunity to elevate their brand, right? If something goes viral, you then have that opportunity. It's all about what you do with that opportunity. And I think the referral piece, whatever it is, it's how do you capitalize on it more than anything else. Yeah.
And one thing, Colin's his name, right, Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing Colin did brilliantly here was he didn't decide, okay, I'm going to go spend all this time, energy, and effort making this really well done real estate parody and post it in my local community Facebook group. I'm going to go give the content to the broke agent. So I get 150,000, 200,000 views across all agents in the nation and increase my awareness for referrals. And that's the appropriate place to put that content. So well done, Colin. I mean, I'm just blown away by the level of production they put into it. Incredible stuff. So.
And this one piece has already picked him up almost 800 followers. Like I said, there's agents talking about referrals in the comments. He has all this exposure now. I'm sure he's going to get invited on podcasts, probably the Over Ask podcast, maybe this show. And that continuous exposure is fantastic for his brand. So if you could do a video like this, I don't know if it's worth $30,000, $40,000. I mean, this guy's has an incredible talent and a voice too. So I don't know if it's worth spending, 3 months on something. But so far, so good for Colin.
This one podcast this week is going to be relevant for the next 12 to 18 months because we talked about the answer that people are going to be, the question rather that we need to answer that buyers are going to be asking over the next 12 to 18 months we talked about what level of professionalism with Flip-Flop Gate are we going to need to deliver in our communities, and what brand is going to be required to actually get the attention to have the seminar, to answer the question online, right? So brand, professionalism, and then having the data to back it up. Really appreciate you guys coming on. David, we love it when you're on the show. Check out the slides. We've got the link below. Trykcm.com/BAM. This is stuff we're going to be using. I know, Lisa, you're going to be using it to help educate your community. Lisa, you're definitely coming back on the walkthrough. Love having you. Eric, keep creating the controversies that fill in the content blocks on the walkthrough.
Absolutely. That's my job.
We'll see everybody next week. Thanks, guys.